It's given with a bit of humour when you have special friends introducing you. Raise your hand if you've ever wondered if you could have more adventure in your marriage. Yeah? Not everyone. Some people have got enough adventure, hey? But most of you want a bit more of adventure. Raise your hand if you've ever wanted to take risks in your marriage, but were just a little unsure. Any risks towards adventure and more enjoyment? Yeah? Raise your hand if you want to truly thrive rather than just survive in your marriage. Yeah? Okay, I think that looks like all of us. Raise your hand if you thought you'd come to an Amway conference. Okay. I see many common marriage issues in my counselling room. Why do so many couples fall in love only to find that a few years down the track they've fallen into boredom and monotony with just the same intensity? How do we keep our marriages fresh so we're doing so much more than only just surviving?
So tonight we're going to introduce you to 3 different types of adventures that you can have in the security of your very own marriage. We're going to introduce you to adventures of the world, which is creating beautiful, exciting experiences together. Then adventures of the home, creating adventure and meaning out of mundane chores and daily activity. And finally, adventures of the heart, taking risks to grow our own heart and soul, to expand our relationships so it will thrive. You also get a chance to boost your reconnections and to rediscover ways of fostering fun in your marriage.
Now, just to give you a little bit of background on us, for those of you who don't know us, and even for those who do, I don't think I know I haven't ever shared this in public before, and I don't think our kids or anyone know really. Something that you wouldn't know about us is that 37 years ago, when we were engaged, we attended a presentation with hundreds and hundreds of people on stuff about marriage. It was just one big presentation, an American on the big screen. The international speaker spoke very dynamically, and his wife sat looking pretty in the front row of the audience. Something was really weird, though, happened in the midst of this man's presentation. I had this really clear vision. Remember, we were only engaged. We were very young. 24 and 21, to be precise. I had this clear vision that we were going to be giving talks to hundreds of people on the same topic. And I wasn't sitting pretty in the front row, and neither was John sitting pretty in the front row. We were both doing it together, and it scared the living daylights out of me. I can only describe it as a scary vision from God that I did not want, and I told him he had the wrong person. Because I was just getting over extreme shyness at that age. And I know some of you who know me will find that hard to believe, but that's my backstory. Telling John was even more crazy, more scary and weird, because he was a doctor in the earliest stage of his career. And I was still studying psychology, and I wasn't through uni yet. And it certainly didn't involve the vision of what I had for my career certainly did not involve large numbers of people. I was thinking one-to-one. Just one-to-one counselling in a room, isolated. That was 37 years ago. 16 years ago, I was privileged to be awarded a Winston Churchill Fellowship, which took me to the US and the UK for 2 months, researching with and learning from gurus in the field of marriage and family education and relationship counselling.
And then moving on to 6 years ago, you were diagnosed with breast cancer and had to go a year of intense treatment, which really knocked the stuffing out of both of us. And I was reminded of the importance of having a strong relationship in advance before the troubles hit, before the uncertainties and the difficulties that the diagnosis brought, to actually be prepared to cope with what came our way.
Yeah. So during these last 3 decades, we've discovered a problem where couples fall in love, which implies having no control or intentionality in what you're doing if you're falling in love rather than growing in love. And the expectation that their love would survive without any purposeful actions or investment to nourish, to nurture, to protect, or to enrich that relationship. Marital breakdown is an epidemic. We know that. And it's bringing despair and depression and disillusionment into so many lives and generations. And that's why John and I like to dedicate our lives to helping people be proactive in their relationships, which is exactly what you are doing this evening, sharing with us in the vital importance of investing into our marriages. Something on a bit of a lighter note now. No?
No,
We need Grant.
we need the Techno Guru Grant.
So just all chat amongst yourselves.
Okay, here we
I've got a
go.
picture. And you press it.
Okay, now who recognises these attractive people? Yes, any takers? Mamma Mia, here we go again. I've met my Waterloo, etc., etc. Okay, this might be a hard one for you. Who reckon? Oh. Who reckon? Oh. Okay, who recognises these four people? This is a bit tricker. And it's tricky from Linda too, who's sitting in the back row. Second from the right. This is, in fact, these wannabes are Heather and I and two of our three children dressed up to represent ABBA at Heather's 50th birthday party. That is so last century. Getting dressed up to look like a famous pop group. We seem to be stuck in a time warp.
Now, often in our marriages, we get stuck in a time warp going through the same situation over and over again. This cartoon shows the endless progression of ups and downs, happy then sad, in waves stretching out into the horizon. Note this definition of insanity, responding the same way over and over again, even when it's not working. If something isn't working in our marriage, often we can find ourselves doing the same thing over and over again, or more louder, more frequently, and we don't stop to think about trying something new. I like this quote: even if you're on the right track, you'll get run over if you just sit there. So even if we think we are on the right track, we've never arrived. We need to keep momentum, keep moving forward. One way we can avoid being stuck in the rut is by enhancing the adventure and fun in our marriages. Times of adventure in marriage can be hugely exciting and satisfying, and each of us can remember back to some of these times.
We'd like to share some of our exciting times. Each of you have your own unique times. Here's some of ours. This is the intrepid couple ice climbing on glaciers and ice cliffs. And now rock climbing on Mount Kinabalu, the highest mountain in Southeast Asia. Or even kayaking around glaciers in Alaska, trying to navigate around all the icebergs. One particularly memorable experience for us was one time we were sitting in an animal hide in South Africa, watching the animals. And we were able to sit there and we watched the animals mating, and then amazing, they got to watch us mating as well.
Too much detail.
Far too much detail. Melinda's here. Thankfully, we survived. And also, thankfully, we don't have an image to show you.
What about the poor animals though?
They've never recovered. They've become extinct.
One of them was alright. Yeah, one was alright. It was a cheetah.
Frankly, if you call that an adventure in marriage, I've never been so scared in my whole life, fearing all these lions and elephants attacking all of a sudden. But I still can't believe we did that. I cannot believe it. It was in our young and foolish days.
Yeah, last year, wasn't it?
Old man's dreams.
It was not, it was 30 years ago to be precise. But the point is, if we don't challenge ourselves to do something we've never done, how can we experience something we've never had?
It's not on my bucket list.
It wasn't on mine either, mate.
It had to be. No, maybe it shouldn't have been.
Sometimes adventures involve only one half of the couple.
So 10 years ago, after we'd run some marriage enrichment events in Uganda, I returned home while you climbed Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania. I decided I might go back to work, might be a safer option.
You wimp. Yes, this was a well thought through adventure for me to have with our daughter Christine after she'd done some volunteering in an orphanage over there. And for me, I'd always wanted to spend some time with each of our kids individually in a developing country as a rite of passage upon them graduating from high school, and to build relationship with them whilst creating a legacy of what we can give to others at the same time. So it was kind of a multifaceted goal that I had.
And I remember when you came home, even though you did this separately, you brought in a lot of enthusiasm and vision and motivation back into our relationship. You did something separately, but brought the fruits back into our relationship.
So as wonderful as these adventures were, they're often once-off events. Times we can fondly look back on, but unlikely to be repeated anytime soon. So we need